for all those restaurateurs who are listening to this that would say, "Oh, I wish I could support local farms, but that's just outside of like that's just not possible." What's your message for those people that could be making more of an effort to source locally and to support their local economies?
Yeah, stop being lazy. No, like seriously, it is. We're living in this age where it's not hard to support local farms anymore, and it starts by going to build a connection with those farms. You've got at least one day off, I promise. And if you don't make at least 2 hours to take a trip to a farm, introduce yourself and figure out how to make this happen.
Yeah, I think it comes. I mean, it takes a lot, and there's a lot of like. Let's be honest, a lot of people, depending on where you are in the nation right now, your demographic might not be willing to support you supporting your farmer.
Yeah.
And that's a real scenario that plays out. What's your message to those people who say, like, if I put an $8 burger on my menu or a $10 burger on my menu or a $12 burger on my menu, depending on where you are and how big the burger is, like my customers just won't buy that. Like that won't fly here. Like what's your message to them?
You're a chef and your job is to educate, right? Like our job, when we put out a dish, that's part of our message that we're putting out to that customer, and they're ingesting that. And so I cannot say enough that the reception for people who want to support local farms through the medium of restaurants, farmers dinner, pop-up events, you're going to see it everywhere now.
Yeah.
It's not a fad anymore.
Yeah, give me the elevator pitch for the restaurateur who's justifying the cost of that burger.
Yeah. So it starts by understanding that there's certain marketing terms that you should be using. You know, grass-fed is one of them. Organic is a little bastardized, but it's still a buzzword that makes sense. One of the things that we do, and I encourage everyone to do this, is if you put a local burger on the menu and that price tag is $16 or $18, explain why.
Yeah.
And one of the ways you can do that is saying, hey, this beef comes from 4 miles away or 14 miles away.
Yeah.
When the average meal travels 1,500 miles until it reaches your plate.
Yeah. You know, I think it just comes, I mean, there's so much information out there now. Like, I mean, if anybody watches Netflix, they know that there's a documentary around every corner about how our decisions with especially food decisions, the impact that has on Earth. And I think that we've kind of hit a ceiling with how good we can get food. I think that we've gotten to the point where we realize, oh, it's not just about how I cook it, it's about how I grow it. And it's not about just how we grow it, it's about growing it as close to the natural way as possible. And oh, wow, when we do this, the earth is better. The earth likes it more too. And then once we start realizing, well, if we can make the earth healthier, then we can make even more healthy food. Like, you know, I think like eventually, like when you look at like the trend of people trying to be as healthy as possible, they're going to realize that the way that I become as healthy as possible is when I eat food that's been raised as humanely as possible. And people are selfish. You've got to make it about them.
Yeah.
So if you can connect those dots and let people know that, hey, if you eat this food, it's going to be the best thing for you.
Right.
And everything that touches that, you know, for everyone. I think that's the next message.
We vote with our dollar,
yeah,
right? Like
for sure.
And if I'm spending more on a burger, but I know that money goes back to local farms, that's a win.
Yeah.
That's a huge win.